everyone. Welcome to The Leader's Edge. I'm your host, Steve Steele, where we dive into insights and principles that will supercharge your leadership and ignite your personal growth. Whether you're a budding entrepreneur, a leader navigating change, or a seasoned pro, this show is for you. Each episode is packed with practical strategies designed to elevate your mindset and amplify your leadership impact. So get ready for actionable tips that can put you into practice immediately. And a huge shout out to all of our amazing listeners. Thank you so much for your unwavering support. So let's get started and unlock your true potential. I have been looking forward to having this guest on the show for quite a long time. My guest today is the founder and CEO of Watts of Love, a global nonprofit transforming the fight against energy poverty, because no family should have to spend its future just to light the present. She pioneered a model that combines clean energy with financial literacy, helping families turn light into savings, assets, and resilience. A recipient of the 2024 Red Cross Global Citizenship Award, she is an inventor, a public speaker, and the designer of a patented solar light. She is leading Watts of Love towards a world where every family can turn light into lasting opportunity. Welcome, everyone, from the green room, Nancy Economou.
I'm back.
Wow. Well, we were talking about that just a little bit earlier. Those things happen sometimes. Wow, Nancy, I don't know if you got what you got to hear or see or anything, but anyway, I did your bio and I told everybody a little bit about what you do and a little bit about Watts of Love, and so we're just gonna have a lot of fun and enjoy. Okay. So Nancy, let's just start out. So this is a pretty big endeavor that you took on. I mean, it is a huge thing. It's global, and you've got a lot of stuff going on. I know you just got back from Africa, and you've been there 3 times this last 30 days. It's just pretty crazy. But Nancy, tell us how you came up with the way of with Watts of Love. A little bit about your story, a little bit about your background, so we kind of viewers can kind of know a little bit who you are and where you're going with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited to be here, Steve. So thank you for having me. Sorry about the technical issues.
It's all good.
So my background was in high-end jewelry sales here in Chicago for Cartier, and I started having children. I got married, started having children. I had 5 boys, so I was a stay-at-home mom. I felt like that's where I wanted to be, but I really had no background in solar or non-for-profit, but I had an experience in 2009 where I went to the Philippines and I was at a feeding program, and there was a young girl whose face was all burnt, and the teachers were putting toothpaste on her face because they didn't have any burn medicine. And I asked, what happened? And the teachers were, like, oh, this happens all the time. Children are burnt because they don't have any electricity. And so for me, as a mother of 5 boys, I thought, my gosh, what's it like to live in the dark? And then, not having any other option except putting your child in front of a kerosene lamp every night.
That's how she was burned.
That's how she was burnt.
Right.
And it was really an awareness and a problem that I had never thought of before. And I came back and I was compelled to do something because I'm like, people should not be living in the dark. Mothers, safety and security, and really started dreaming about what would that look like to bring solar lights to people living in darkness.
Wow. So at that, when you started putting this together and you started really thinking about this, what was how did you really get started? Did you think of solar lights first? I mean, that's the first thing that came into your mind, and then you developed a solar light. I mean, tell us how that came together.
Yeah. So when I first started thinking about it, I knew that a solar light would be what people needed, right? And so LEDs were just coming on the market. There was not a lot of solar. My experience happened in 2009. And I didn't actually take the first step to start Watts of Love until 2013, because, I had to get out of my own head. Like, who am I? What do I know? All of those self-doubt things were playing in my head. And 2013, I thought, you know what? I need to do something. I feel like I've been given this dream for a reason. I'm going to take that first step and try. So originally, I found a unit that was a little bit larger and a solar panel. And so that was my original, like a very small, compact, but I wanted to make sure that it wasn't a dim light, that I wanted families to have enough light that the mother could cook, the children could study, and they could create businesses. Mm-hmm. But through this process, the very first light that I brought, I realized that there was problems with it. That there was a wire going from the solar panel into the house, and that the mice were eating through the wires.
Wow.
They'd pull it through the tin roof. If they had a tin roof, they would fray it. And people that we serve are so remote that there is no access to any type of repairing or services. So during this process,
Nancy, tell us real quick, when you say so remote, I want you to give our listeners and viewers an idea of what so remote means.
Yeah.
Right?
So the heart of Watts of Love is to find what I would refer to as the hidden poor, right? There's going to be poors in cities, but we go to the most remote areas, and I'm going to share just a story of an older woman that the very first person that we gave a light to, when we gave her the light, she said, I cannot accept this from you. I have been cursed by God. I've been abandoned by my family, and I am too poor for you to love me. And, I realized at that point that Watts of Love was not a transaction. like giving somebody a light. It was an interaction with the people that we wanted to serve. So remote, like we'll take bonka boats over the South China Sea. There's donkeys, like, and one of the things that Watts of Love is known for is going into the communities. So we have created a system that is not about the Americans going in and teaching financial literacy and distributing the lights. What we do is we've raised up local leadership, and so that they can get to these really remote areas and really find the hidden poor.
So the local leadership is who you really go for when you get into a community or an area, right? And this is not just about getting lights to people. This is about connection with the community and the community connecting with each other, correct?
Absolutely. And so we have the solar light, which is now paired with financial literacy in very simple. I'll just show you. This is, very simple teaching that we have. And it's through this teaching and photographs that we say, okay, now that you have a light and you have the box represents a bank, you can now take the money that was going towards batteries or kerosene, you put it inside of your box, and you don't open your box for 7 to 10 days. And that concept is a very new concept of this little bit of money every day can equal something great, such as you can purchase a small chicken. And what happens with chickens is they start to give you eggs, they can start to multiply. And every 7 days they can buy a chicken. And then we also, part of that teaching, those pictures, is diversification. Right? If the chicken flu comes through, you want rabbits, you want ducks, another quickly multiplying. And then once you start having success, take 10 chickens and buy a goat or a pig. And what I can tell you, Steve, is the people that we serve, they're like, these are things we've never heard of, right? Saving, diversification. Yeah. We use it in very simple terms, but now people are successful. And our goal at Watts of Love, right, is to find the hidden poor, remote areas that maybe nobody is serving. But then also it's really to take a family out of a community and put them in a city, the odds of them being successful is very low. So our goal is to make every family successful right where they are, and that now the children get a higher education because they have money to pay for school fees. They have money, now they sell an egg and they can buy uniforms or pencils. And the family can now be successful. The children get a higher education, and different decisions can be made in the future.
Now, I want to be clear about this, Nancy. The people that get the lights, they don't pay for them, do they? You give that to them.
Yes. And that's been a big debate.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. So and again, it's not a transaction. Here's your light. It is an education process, right? We're teaching them to fish, and we're giving them the fishing pole.
Exactly.
And when I started Watts of Love, I felt like it's the best investment in the world is to invest in the ultra poor. And we are asking them to give up a day of work to come and hear the teaching and to have new ideas. And then we're going to give you the tool, the light, the teaching, and then they're going to leave with a piece of paper, which is their business plan. But when I started in Malawi in 2019, and why Malawi? Because it's the fourth poor. I think it's the fourth poorest nation in the world. Poverty is incredibly high. People live on less than $2 a day.
Yeah,
80%.
For our people who don't know, Malawi is in Africa.
Yes. It's on the east coast of just near Mozambique, by Zambia, and Malawi hit our target for extreme poverty, and almost 80% of the people live with no electricity. So, just Malawi is a place that we need to be and start working in.
That is amazing. Nancy, how did you come up with the name Watts of Love? I mean, that's such a beautiful, it's just perfect for what you do.
Yeah, just, very early on when I started thinking about it, it was something that came to me and I would share, I have this vision and it's called Watts of Love. We're going to bring solar lights to people and give them the opportunity to start saving their money and it was just very early on. It was one of the very first things that I came up with.
That's beautiful. I have so many questions just going through my head, but one of the things as you were talking a minute ago, you went into communities, different communities, you talked to the leadership. Nancy, do you ever have any pushback from leadership about going into these communities and giving this electric to them and sharing with them your idea of financial literacy and helping them? Do you get any pushback?
Yeah, great question. But that's a very standard question I get here in America. But in Africa, I don't work with political figures or the government. But I can tell you, I believe in honor and so I have a relationship with the president of Malawi and different areas that we work with government, that they know we are in their country, they know what we're doing, but we work, and then our local leadership works alongside of the traditional authority, which is like the chiefs. And they are part of the process. They're not in control as far as creating the list for one light per home. So we have everything is very laid out and organized. So they are part of the process. But I've never had any pushback. And people say, well, what about the person who sold, kerosene or batteries?
Yeah, I mean,
but because in Africa and the communities that we work in, they are community based. So I've interviewed those people and said, well, what are you going to do? If the kerosene sales goes down, they're going, sell something else. My whole community has just been lit. People can be educated. Like, they're thrilled for the community because they know what that means to every single person. So to this date, we've never had any pushback because they are community based and they care about their neighbors.
That's beautiful. Nancy, who does the teaching when you go? Who actually teaches the whole process to them?
Yeah, so our local leadership, we have I'll speak specifically about Malawi because we're really starting to scale, improve the model that we have. And we have over 400 people trained, the Watts of Love way, and how to distribute, how to create a list, how to work with local governments, how to make sure that the handicapped people are not overlooked. And they now become the example. Like you can see there's some of the faces behind us. They now become the example for the local people. Yeah. I was just like you a year ago. Now I have a chicken business. I'm paying for my school fees, and women can see themselves in our leadership.
That is absolutely beautiful. Well, we're going to take a really quick break here in a second, Nancy. And when we come back, I want you to tell us a little bit about more Watts of Love, a little about what you're doing, but I also want you to give us some success stories. And then I'm going to ask you as well as, maybe some things that weren't so successful that you had to work through. Because I know that this process couldn't have been easy. This had to be a process that you worked on over and over. And there had to be those times, Nancy, within your own self, your inner person that said, hey, I don't know if I can do this. I want to talk about that too, and what kept you going and what kept moving you forward. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back to the Leader's Edge. Are you ready to elevate your organization with a team of transformational leaders? Do you want to attract and nurture top talent while enhancing communication and productivity across generations? Hi, I'm Steve Steele, co-host of The Leader's Edge, and your coach with the Maxwell Leadership Team. My program equips leaders with essential skills and resources to lead, coach, and communicate effectively, ensuring everyone thrives. With tailored insights and proven strategies, I'm here to help your entire organization succeed. So reach out today at growthinleadership@gmail.com or visit johncmaxwellgroup.com/Steve Steele. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Leader's Edge. I'm Steve Steele, your host, with our special guest today, Nancy Economou. Nancy, thank you so much for that first segment. We had you kind of told us how you got started and a little bit about what was going on. But Nancy, during that process, seriously, and that's what the Leader's Edge is all about, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs who listen and different business leaders who listen. There had to be those moments, Nancy, when you were really drilling down, trying to work this thing out, that there had to be those setbacks. And it had to be that, can I really make this thing happen? Can I really, I have such a burden? Can I really, really do this? Nancy, tell us a little bit about that. And then tell us what any kind of breakthrough that you had that maybe changed the game.
Yeah, well, I think starting any non-for-profit or business, right? When I started Watts of Love, I wanted to run it like a business. If we're going to tell people that they can be successful in Africa and they can start saving their monies, that I needed to be able to do the same thing with people here. And I think at the beginning, you try and just do whatever you can to, we didn't have money, like you just all of those bootstrap, do what you have to do. I think investing in the people that are alongside of you, filling in your gaps, I think was one of the things that I probably overlooked at the very early on. I can tell you now, we've been able to invest in local talent that really is accelerating and growing Watts of Love tremendously. Like it's made such a huge difference in our growth. One of the biggest setbacks that I had 2.5 years ago, I think I shared, we have this vision of basically like a franchise throughout Malawi, and we've raised up 400 people. And I had that vision, and I shared it with a woman 3 years ago. And this woman came alongside of Watts of Love and she said, I hear your vision. I see what you want to do. And she gave us a significant transformational gift that allowed us to take that step.
Right.
And before I went to Malawi and started training 400 people over 10 days, the week before I left, my office, a tree fell on my office. The office caught fire and flooded.
Wow.
So it was like, oh my gosh, like it was this horrible situation in my office. I had to shut everything down. I left for Africa, not having any power in my own office, no running water. We went to Malawi. We trained 400 people. Like really this God vision was being launched. And then I came home, and the week later, my home in Florida, I had just purchased a VRBO 6 months earlier. The entire house burnt down by an electrical fire.
My goodness.
So I can tell you, you have challenges. Yeah. And there's moments where there's probably, light and darkness. And when you have a God vision and you can see that you're going to start ending generational poverty for a nation, you're going to come up, whether it's people, circumstances, things happen. And it was I can tell you, it took 2 years to rebuild my house. There was no income, but to believe in yourself, to keep taking those steps, because other people are relying on you and you've been given that dream and that vision for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so ironic that all this happened, those things happened by electrical. With what you're doing is you're putting that into a new nation. Isn't that crazy? That's just, I understand that really from a spiritual realm. I kind of understand how that works, but from a physical nature, it's just very interesting that would happen that way, But Nancy, so I guess one of the other questions I have is, how do you get this distribution over there? I mean, how do you get all these lights over there, and how do you make that all happen? I mean, because there's hundreds and hundreds of lights. You just can't take them in a suitcase over,
Yeah, no, absolutely not. So I'm just going to say, with the light, I was able to design and patent this light. It's very small. The other light that we had was larger, so logistically that was a problem. Yeah. So we went from 12 lights in a box to 100 lights. So that was like my vision was, how do we stop shipping air? How do we make it more efficient? If we're going to get to these remote areas, we have to be about efficiency. So first was designing a durable light that can last 10 years, making sure that we're not shipping air. It's going to be able to last in a harsh environment. But then everything is manufactured in China. I've tried in the United States. I've tried in Mexico. I've gone through a lot of different, but right now it's the best price that we can do. I used to send it to the United States and then ship it back out, but with bringing on the right people in the right seat, I now have a team that does the manufacturing in China, and then we ship it directly into Malawi. Stays in the city in Lilongwe, and then I have the local leadership where they will drive it up and into the mountains and those remote areas, different islands, wherever the lights need to go. And then I have the central hub, which is called the lighthouse. Mm-hmm. That's just a phrase where that's my partner of 17 lighthouses throughout Malawi. Mm-hmm. And we distribute 20,000 homes over 4 years if we're successful fundraising. So it is logistically, people don't understand what all goes into actually reaching the hidden poor. But we have a network and infrastructure, and we're creating a movement of Africans lighting and transforming their home, their community, and now their nation.
That is amazing. And I want to make sure everybody understands that, you didn't know how to do any of this when you started. I mean, you didn't know how to do anything. You were a mom at home. That's who you were. And so you didn't know how to do any of this. So I know you had to walk this journey step by step by step. I know there was mistakes that were made, but obviously you've been very successful with it. So in doing that, walking that through and seeing that through that way, it is amazing to me. You patented this light. Yes. How did you know how to even engineer it, put it together? I mean, did you have someone who walked beside you on that and helped you with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my inspiration, I'm going to share a story, right? Because I probably think differently. I was in Kathmandu, Nepal. I was actually at a leper colony. Okay. So everybody in this area had leprosy. So all of their fingers had fallen off, body parts had fallen off. And I brought our original light that had a button. And what happened is people didn't have fingers. So they're trying to turn on this light. And I started seeing like, oh my gosh, people have to go to the bathroom, like simple human dignity.
Yes.
And so when I came back, I'm like, I am going to create something that's for all people. Disabilities, leprosy, handicap, crutches. And so then I realized like people don't have glasses. Like, how do they see and feel? So on the center of this light is a raised heart. So you can feel where to push. It doesn't have a button. So if people can't use their hand, they can just put this on the table, push and hold.
Oh, look at that.
That first setting will last 120 hours of continuous runtime. So it can last a very long time. This will last 50 hours, 20 hours. Oh, wow. This is over 275 lumens. You can operate, deliver babies, and then there's an emergency strobe.
Oh, wow.
That acts as the 911, because people don't have cell phones. If you're having a problem, this is how the community can now communicate. I also realized people need their hands. So this comes on a strap. It can adjustable. So now they can hang it inside of their home, or they put it on their head for hands free.
Beautiful.
So portable, working in the farm, walking to the market, hanging the light in the market to sell your tomatoes. Like, so often we look at a solution, right? Oh, they need a big home unit. If you are living in darkness, you need a portable light that can light your home and then go to the bathroom with you. And, I don't think we understand in America, people don't have bathrooms inside of their homes. So when they're walking outside, so many deaths, being bitten by a snake. Like, bad things happen
Yeah.
in the dark.
Yeah.
Now you have a safe way to get there, like a small portable, it's waterproof. So I really designed something that is that first step into the energy ladder, right? If this light gets stolen, broken, we have transformed their thinking. We have transformed their savings and their income.
Yes.
And when we go back, they've taken that first step into the energy ladder. They understand how to save. They understand solar is free.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can buy their next light. There is sometimes access. They may have to walk 2 hours to a market, but they've been transformed. They understand that they can purchase their next light. But it's the savings paired with the free light, the investment into that family, that's transformative.
And each family that you have gets one light per family. Is that how it works?
Yes. So, right, we learn along the way, and sometimes a man may have 2 or 3 wives. And I used to say one per household. Well, then I also learned that a household means they all eat out of the same pot. So there may be 3 wives, but they're all eating. That's a household.
Okay.
So I said, okay. So I had to change my rules and say it's one per wife. And then one of the other rules is whoever is the most vulnerable, meaning if a man leaves, the light stays with the woman and the children. If the woman leaves, and there's certain cultures that the woman leaves and goes back to her village and leaves the children with the man, then the light stays with the man and the children. So that's how we work alongside of the local leadership.
That's what I was going to ask. How do you enforce that, and the local leadership sees that that's done?
And it's the tribal chiefs have agreement. So it's all these processes.
This had to take you some time to figure all this out. My goodness. This is like a process. I mean, when you think about it, it's not like taking a light over there and giving it to somebody and say, hey, this is a solar light, you can use it. You got a whole process that you got to work through, the details that you got to work through.
Yeah,
to make all this come together.
Right. You don't want to walk in and be like handing out lights, and you create a wake of destruction when you leave. So now it's bad for my local partners. It's bad for the communities. It's, it's go low and slow and intentional. And again, it is not a transaction. It's an interaction with the community. It's an interaction with the home.
Yes, I absolutely love that. And that really brings everybody together when you do it that way. And I love that.
And when we, because we say, okay, first you have to buy a chicken within 7 to 10 days, and then buy another chicken, and buy a pig and a goat, and then you can go from a thatched roof to a tin roof. So what happens is once the home understands this and they start walking that out, if their neighbor has been a little lazy, guess what? They're like, hey, Steve's got chickens and goats and pigs. What's wrong with me? So there's a little friendly competition.
Yeah.
And Watts of Love's impact is tangible.
Yeah.
You see chickens, you see goats, you see the homes improving, you see that they put a door on their house now, you see that they went from a thatched roof to a tin roof, and you see the whole community is being raised up at the same time.
I absolutely love that. And the crazy thing about it is that here in America, we go down to Home Depot, we get a light, solar light, easy to get, right? We can do that. But there just doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. And these poor people are working without lights, especially in the evenings. And I don't know how they do with kerosene lamps, and they burn things down and people get hurt and all kinds of things happen. This really takes up to a new level. Not only that, and I want to really emphasize this, is that it creates entrepreneurship within the community.
Yes.
Each household can take care of itself and save money and buy chickens and buy goats and buy tin roofs and the whole thing. That is simply amazing. Did you know, obviously you couldn't have known this, Nancy, going into this, as it was going to go that kind of direction?
I didn't, but when I went to the Philippines the very first time, all 1,000 of my lights got stuck in customs. So I thought I was going to be a failure. But I had 3 lights in my suitcase, and those 3 lights, I can share that story if you want.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
So the very first light I told you about was 9. I'm too poor for you to love me. Mm-hmm. And so I realized it was about a heart connection. Mm-hmm. I see you, you ask someone's name. It's a small interaction and it can happen fast. Gives value and self-worth. The next light I gave out was to a woman who had 7 children, and her name was Emily. And I thought, what's it like to live in darkness since the beginning of time? You never have seen a light. And so I ran down to her little nipa hut the next morning. I said, Emily, what was it like last night? And she said, well, it was amazing. I stayed up. I put the children to bed, and I stayed up, and I made 1,000 bamboo barbecue sticks. And that's when I'm like, oh my gosh, light allows a woman or a man the ability to create businesses. Like, so it was really their stories that I carried back. And then the last story was the last light that I gave out was the most transformative. And that was Ruth. When I went to her home, her husband said to me, you cannot speak to my wife. She has no education. She won't understand how to push the buttons. Only tell me. And so she stood there very quietly. And he said, tonight, I was asking questions because I'm curious. He said, tonight for dinner, we licked our fingers, dipped our fingers in salt, and we ate salt, and to trick our bodies into the fact that we had no food. A level of poverty I had never seen or heard of. And so my 1,000 lights were released from customs. 30 days later, I went back to that same island to help distribute them. And that uneducated woman came down from the mountaintop. She said, Nancy, I want you to know we have never gone hungry one day since I received that light. I said, how has this light fed your family? And she said, every day I hide a little bit of money from my husband instead of buying kerosene. And so that's when I realized, how do I teach women who have been discarded by their husbands, discarded by society, and they have no formal education, how do I teach them entrepreneurship, savings, diversification? And that's when we came up with the pictures. And
I want you to walk us through that, Nancy. Now, we got about 3 minutes here, but when we come back in just a few minutes, I want you to walk us through what that looks like when you're actually teach us. It's a short form or version of it, but teach us. And because I'm really interested in that. And I want our viewers to know, what that really looks like. And if you're watching, I want you to get on that QR code up there at the top left-hand corner of your screen. Right there, you're going to see that's where Nancy's website is. You can find out everything about her, what she's doing, how it's all coming together, and how you can be involved. So we'll be right back to Leaders Edge. We'll talk to Nancy a few minutes more, but right now we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
All right, podcasters, let's be honest for a second. If your show sounds like it was recorded inside of a tin can, in your cousin's basement, in a van down by the river with your dog barking in the background, it's time for an upgrade. That's where 216 Creator Studios comes in, the home of real production, real people who actually know what all those shiny buttons do. They've got pro mics, top-tier editing, and lighting that makes everyone look like they slept 8 hours, even if you didn't. Whether you're just starting out or you've been podcasting since people were still saying, smash that like button, give me a thumbs up. 216 Creator Studio helps you sound crisp, confident, and ready for the big leagues. So stop recording in your car, stop arguing with your USB mic, and get into 216 Creator Studios, where your podcast finally sounds as good as you think it does.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Leader's Edge. I'm Steve Steele, your host, with our special guest today, Nancy Economou. Oh, Nancy, That was a great segment. I really enjoyed about this, especially the stories, and I really loved how you were sharing with us about the particular stories that have taken place. But right before we went off, we were talking a little bit about some of the different things that the things that you'd gone through, certain situations, and so I kind of want to get into a little bit about where you're going with lots of love, and how many places you are across the world, and what you're actually doing, and how our people can get involved here in just a few minutes. But to kind of share with us that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned Malawi is really our pilot for this scaling, because people need light.
Mm-hmm.
The government is not going to come there and bring power grids. Like it is something, and there's very cheap, inexpensive products that don't last, but they also need this teaching so that they can become independent. So we are going to start scaling and lighting Malawi. We have over 17 lighthouses throughout Malawi. We're going to prove that we can start shifting, poverty. The root cause of poverty is, child marriage, low education. All of that comes from the lack of knowledge and savings. And so we are going directly after, ending generational poverty. We're going to be able to we are proving that. We'll have some data this year that will be published. And once we prove that model in Malawi, the lighthouse model is transferable to any other nation. So Watts of Love's presence is in over 54 different countries. We've distributed about 350,000 homes have been lit in those countries. But our areas of focus right now are Malawi to start scaling. And then also we're working in Zambia and Kenya.
So you'll be able to take these particular, this scale model, once you figure out how it works in Malawi and the other this part of the, I guess you said Kenya, Zimbabwe. Is that what you said?
Zambia.
So once those get scaled, then you're going to take those to other parts of the world and scale that same exact way.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Light and our teaching is universal, right? Yep. People, there's close to just under 1 billion people that have no electricity.
Mm-hmm.
So they're spending money on kerosene or something. So we're saying no longer spend that on that, right, and reinvest that money.
Okay, so right before the break, I wanted you to do a little teaching thing for us. I wanted you to show us exactly when you go into an area or a community, do you have a group of people there, or you do it one-on-one, or how do you do it? You do it and you do this teaching model. And I want you to kind of run us through a teaching model real quick.
So the teaching model is executed by our local partnership. So you can see there's a woman here, her name is Maria, and she's talking to an entire community. Okay. So what happens is before we go in for the teaching, our local team will work and create a list. So it's very organized. There's a lot of work that's done beforehand. It's one light per home, and we'll go through that teaching. So we have 2 banners that are local people. So it's directly in their language. It's not being interpreted. And so we have 2 banners. Number 1 is the lighting banner. So most people are using batteries or kerosene, whatever their lighting source is, will now be eliminated, which means the average that they spend on lighting is 30% of their income. So it's like equivalent to your mortgage.
Right.
There might just be a small amount of money, but it's 30% of what they live on. And so now we say you're going to take that money, instead of going to the kerosene dealer or go buy batteries, you're going to put that money inside of the box. You're going to take your money, put it inside of the box. You're not going to open it for 7 days. And then we break it down per week, per month, and per year. And most people can understand what they're spending in a week. But then we say, okay, in 30 days, this is how much it is. In 1 year, this is how much it is. That's a lot of money, right? So we step by step start to show them. And then we'll get a community census. How much is a small chicken? And they'll say, 1,500 kwacha. Well, great. In 7 days, you'll have 1,500 kwacha in your in your bank. So then you open it up and you buy a small chicken. And they start to understand. Most of the people that are receiving a light never have had a chicken. And that is their savings. That is their money in the bank. We talk about diversification. And again, it's the local people. If you don't want a chicken, you can do doves. Like, people have freedom. We're not coming in and saying, you need to be a farmer, or here's a goat, you need to raise this goat. We're like, no, what do you want? Because through this teaching and this program, you are going to be able to choose yourself, and you're going to be able to execute it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And the second teaching is, okay, with light, you have education. Your children can study at night. They can study in the morning. With light, there's safety and security. You can take care of your children. People are trying to eat in the dark. Like, I couldn't even feed my children with the light on. Like, there's just so many things without having a light. So they understand that. And then with the light, there's entrepreneurship.
Yes.
So you have an additional you have the gift of time. You have another 6 hours in your day. Can you go farming or water your garden at night? Can most people are subsistence farmers, so they're growing their food for the year. Can you make sleeping mats? Can you make bamboo barbecue sticks? What desire do you have in your heart? You can now do it. And then they have to say, I'm going to become a baker. I'm going to make furniture. I'm going to make sleeping mats. So they leave with a piece of paper with these things on it. And it's a business plan. 2 streams of income. The money I spent on kerosene, how I'm going to save it. And then the second stream of income is entrepreneurship. I'm going to create new money. And then I'm going to invest in animals that multiply. And then the last thing is what is your big dream?
Yeah.
And people have such a hard time.
Of course.
Put it down there so they leave with a greater vision when they came.
Oh, Nancy, this is absolutely beautiful. I mean, I didn't even know. I mean, I had an idea of what you were doing, but I didn't even know that what you were doing beyond lighting. That's really where the magic is. Yes. I mean, getting that light in there is crucial, but what they do after that is where the magic is, what happens, and they change their life because of it. And I love the business model. It's so simple, so easy that, anybody, I don't care who you are, you don't have to be educated, can follow that picture, can follow that process. That's just amazing. That's amazing.
Yes. And so in the teaching, right, the local people might do a song or they'll do a skit. And we have so many different ways of engaging the brains, because some people have no formal education. So they want to hear, or they might not be able to see. They might not have glasses, so they can't even see our banners. So we engage all of the senses through song, through skits, through banners. So there's this large group teaching. And then at the end, we call up the person by name. So it's a very ceremonial.
Oh, wow.
They've never opened a box. They've never received something new. They receive their light. And then we go down into groups of 15. And my local leadership sits down with 15 people. This is how you use your light. They learn how to put it on. They learn how to turn it on and off. And so when they leave, they feel successful on how to operate the light, how to care for the light, how to charge the light. And then they have their piece of paper that with their local trainer, they have filled it out. And that's their commitment to themselves and their family.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. That is absolutely beautiful. Nancy, have you been out there and had a community and been successful with the community, and then some time has gone by and you've gone back to that community to see how it's grown and how it's changed? Tell us about that.
That's my favorite, right?
I love it.
Because it's pride.
Yeah.
They have done the hard work. They want to share what they've been able to do. And so many stories, but I'm going to share a story that I just saw about 4 weeks ago. And we work alongside of, so I have my local leadership, and then I have Makota, which is for people with disabilities and albinism in Malawi. And I said, can I meet one of the families with disabilities that has received a light, and can I meet them? So he said, sure, great. There's a mother that doesn't live too far. So I went there, and it was, maybe a 20-minute drive. And when I arrived, Steve, at this house, it was a mother of a young boy who's 8 years old. He can't walk, probably cerebral palsy. She has 4 other children, or 3 other children, 4 total, no husband. The child is like dragging himself along the ground. The mother received the light in February. So 90 days later, she was able to buy chickens. She had nothing to begin with, right? She was barely struggling to feed the children day to day. Within those 90 days, she could water her garden. She was able to buy like fertilizer to help grow her tomatoes. She started selling her tomatoes. She had to walk an hour and a half to the tarmac where the market was. She'd strap the 8-year-old to her back, go and sell her tomatoes with the light, walk back, but it started increasing because she had the safe way of getting back and forth with her son. She made so much money that she was able to hire a babysitter. So she became now an employee to a local girl. She started selling more tomatoes. She bought a chicken. Like now she kind of freed herself up. And the day-to-day drain on a single mother with a handicapped child, to have some relief, she bought a pig. Like once that pig has piglets, it will explode.
Oh.
In 90 days, a single mother of a handicapped child was able to have relief, pay for things. Like if she was the only person that I ever gave a light to, I would consider that success.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. What a fulfilling moment you had to have in your life. That's when you know what you're called to do in life is what it really is supposed to be. And that's when you feel fulfilled by it. And I'm telling you, that is amazing. You got me jazzed on this thing. So Nancy, we know this thing doesn't come free. How do people contribute to you? How do you, can you tell us a little bit about how it works?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, anyone is welcome to join us in the field, right? And I know a lot of people want to.
I can even join you in the field?
Yes. You can.
I love that.
You'll love it because it's really, you will come back transformed. So you can travel with us. You can go onto our website, www.watts.love. You can use the QR code. You can look at travel, but it's really sponsor a family. And for a family to receive a light, the training, our local leadership is $50 that will last a family 10 years. This light is so durable. And it's transformative for that family.
What does it cost to
all of that? It's $50 for a family.
Is that right?
Yeah. So it's and we are on a mission. So if people can do more than that, we have a lighthouse. So every lighthouse, we distribute 5,000 lights a year. That's $250,000. We have corporations and people that have their own lighthouse. They can go and see the communities that they've lit. So, any amount will help.
Wow, that's amazing. Nancy, how many people do you have working with you now total?
So in the United States, I have 10 full-time people doing programs, monitoring and evaluation, accounting. I have some amazing volunteers that help us with a lot of the logistics. And then in Africa, we have over 450 people trained. Part of that $50 donation is their salary, not salary. We pay them per day. So they're like contractors because we're asking them to do real work. And I don't feel comfortable not paying them. They shouldn't be volunteers. We're asking them to do a job, to do it well, and to seek out the hit report.
Well, that's pretty cheap, actually, $50. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
I know that is just freaking amazing. So Nancy, gosh, I guess if people want to get a hold of you, they get a hold of you through your website. and
Yes.
and either they can donate there or they can get with you if they want to travel with you or whatever they want to do. That's just simply amazing. I absolutely love that. Nancy, we've got about a minute here left. Tell us, if you could do it all over again, would you do it the same way, or what would you do different?
What would I do different? Oh my gosh. I personally, I feel like this was a God vision. I was at the lowest part of my life, and I just feel like he gave me a crazy idea, and I believed that it was true and took those steps. So I hope that I steward this amazing idea the best way that I can.
There's no doubt that you have. It is no doubt that you have. I am so impressed, and I know our viewers will be too. Nancy, what an amazing journey you're on. And I know it's not over. There's so much more of the world to find, to connect with. It's endless. You'll never see it in your lifetime, Nancy. You'll never see it in your lifetime. It's just amazing. It's just simply amazing. I absolutely love it. So, Nancy, thank you so much for today and for everything that you shared with us about Watts of Love. But join me next week on The Leader's Edge as I introduce to you Carolyn Dowdy. She's a CEO of Caregiver Mental Wellness Incorporated. She's a keynote speaker and a thought leader addressing the invisible caregiver crisis impacting our nation and the most vulnerable populations through strategic training and community solutions. So you won't want to miss that show. And you can find The Leader's Edge on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. If you find value in these conversations, don't forget to please subscribe, hit that subscribe button, or follow to stay connected. And I want to say thank you to all of our listeners and friends, because without you, The Leader's Edge would not be possible. I'm so grateful to have you here and so excited to connect with you next time. So have a great day, everyone.